Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am making 3 shaker cards for you, 3 different ways. I am using brand new products from PICKET Fence Studio. They asked me to guest design with them and sent me some really fun things, like this tropical drink shaker die. Yeah, tropical pineapple. And then we have our lemonade shaker. Look at this fun like glass mug. It's got ice cubes, a straw, limes, and lemons. And then we have the tropical cocktail shaker. So all 3 of these are designed to make shakers, and there's even a make it dirty stamp set that has sayings that can go with cards made with the theme of alcoholic beverages or beverages in general. So they also sent me some of their new embellishments. They are gorgeous. I'm gonna have the stuff I used linked for you below so you can check all these out. I love embellishments, and so this was making me so happy. Plus I love shaker cards. They even sent me some faux ice cubes. Look at these. I'm super excited about them. So let's jump in and check out card number 1. I'm going to start with a background. I have a piece of white cardstock that's about 4 inches by 5 1/4. So this is going to create a background for my A2 sized card. And then I am using 2 different colors of Distress Oxide. Abandoned Coral is that darker color. That's going to be at the bottom of my card. And then I have my saltwater taffy there at the top, and these 2 blend together so beautifully, and it gave me that kind of sunset feel I was going for. I'm spritzing this with water. I love this effect with Distress Oxide ink. I do it almost every time. I love the look of splatter, so I'm loving this background already, but I wanted to add some more to it. So I have my metallic watercolors. I got the gold wet, and then I picked it up with my scraggly little paintbrush, and then I used a window sheet to help drag the brush against and create even more splatter on that background. All right, here is what that pineapple die set looks like with all the pieces die cut out. I did my pineapple from yellow because when you have like a really good ripe pineapple, it is yellow on the outside, like before it's cut open, and it has brown accents. So that's the look I was going for. So first I'm going to kind of give it a little bit of a shadow with my Y38 marker, and then I brought in E19 to add that touch of brown. And I am going around the outside edge as well as those openings, and those little openings are going to be the window on my shaker card. So this is what I would call like a element shaker card, where I'm going to turn a piece of my card that sits on top of the card into a shaker. I am also adding some color in the form of stripes to my straw, and then polka dots on my little drink umbrella. I wish the umbrella was a tiny bit bigger, but it is super cute. I love having a drink umbrella. So I just use a gold gel pen on that. There's also a die that makes little pineapple slices. So I'm using the same exact colors to color that out. But I will say later I realized I wanted the brown on the outside of the pineapple to be a little bit darker. So I will add some more brown to that. You'll see, I think it's like E17. Yeah. So there we have all the pieces colored, and now it's time to start getting the pieces together for the shaker. Yes, it is E17. I'm adding around the windows and even around the outer edge, and just making a little bit darker really made me happy. It really intensified it, and I love the look. Okay, so then I added a window sheet that I just cut with my scissors, so it was a little bit smaller than my pineapple, and glued that to the back. Now for the backing of my shaker, I wanted a lighter yellow. So I traced the opening of my die cut, and then I'm just going to cut this out with scissors. It needs to be a little bit smaller, so I'm cutting away the pencil line. I don't need it to be perfectly detailed. So it was really quick and easy to do. Before I stick everything down, I need to make sure that my straw is in place. I want to be able to see it through the window, and then also have it stick out the top. So I glued that down, and then I'm also adding my little umbrella because it'll tuck behind and kind of overlap my straw as well. Now I can add my foam strips. These are foam strips from Trinity Stamps. They are the thin foam strips, and when you take the backing off of the reveal the sticky part by taking off the backing. Does that make any sense? They're much easier to curve around a shape. So for this card, I am adding those golden embellishments on the inside. There's sequins with different colors, different sizes, and then there's these like little tiny tube pieces that are really lightweight. Very cool. So that's what's in there, and we'll set that aside and work on a countertop. I decided to use this corrugated cardstock from my stash. I used my E17 marker to kind of darken up the very top edge, and then I glued that down to my background, which is all dry, and I can just start assembling. So the pineapple drink is on, and then I added one slice of the pineapple to my drink. I also die cut an additional 3 pineapple slices so I could add those on, but I didn't want to add them on until I had my sentiment in place so that I could really figure out where I wanted them to go. So I stamped my sentiment with clear embossing ink, and I'm embossing it with California Gold embossing powder from Wow. It's gold with gold glitter in it. I love it. So the islands are calling, or maybe it's the rum, is the sentiment I chose. And I am using the coordinating die to bubble cut this out. And I'm using my mini die cut machine, which I love. When my desk is full, I can pull that in because it's so tiny. I'm going to pop this up beneath my drink and then add in those extra pineapple slices so they have a little bit of a decorative look around my drink there. I added this to my A2 size card, which was 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and I scored it down the middle at 4 1/4. Now I have room on the inside, or maybe even the top part of the card on the outside, to personalize this. Like if I want to send a thank you or congrats or a birthday, I can do that at a later time. So there is card number 1. Let's move on to card number 2. This one is super fun. I have the Lemonade Shaker Die, and I have 2 different shaker bits I'm using on this one. The one that has like lemon and lime slices and sequins and the ice cubes. For my background, I pulled out my watercolor pencils from Tim Holtz, and I'm using a purple and a kind of I think it's picked raspberry, actually. Villainous Potion and picked raspberry. And then I'm going to have those overlap in the middle, kind of like I did on my first background, but I wanted a watercolor look. So this could also be kind of a sunset look. But I consulted my color wheel when making this because I knew my drink I wanted to be like a really bright lime green, and the opposite color was kind of this, I would call it kind of a fuchsia purple. So that's why I chose this loud background for this card. So there it is, all watercolored and ready to go. So for this card, I'm using the Lemonade drink set. I wanted to show you it all die cut out, even though I'm not using the white cup. I wanted you to see those die cut pieces. They're really fun with the ice cubes. I love that. But I am going to die cut an opening into my card to be my shaker today. So that's why I glued down my countertop piece first, which was brushed silver cardstock, and then I die cut that like mug shape from it. I can flip that over now and add my window sheet to start building the shaker for this card. Again, I need to figure out my straw. So for this one, since it's the card front and not a shaped shaker, I need to kind of piecemeal the straw. So I figured out where I wanted it, cut it apart. The top part that comes out of the cup is going to be glued down to the front of my card, and then the rest of the straw I'm going to glue on the inside. I don't want the glue to show, so I'm going to kind of spread that out with my finger, and that's going to help it just stick down, but those dots of glue are not going to show. They're not going to like seep out either. I saved the follow away piece from the handle. You really need it on this shaker in particular, and glued that in place on top of the window. I added some thick foam tape there for my shaker reservoir, and now it's time to create the background. I decided to use Twisted Citron, and I'm going to splatter this like crazy. So first the water, of course I'm going to do that. I already told you I can't help myself. And then I have some Distress Oxide that I am splattering on, just using the tip of the nozzle for this spray. I believe this is the mustard color. I don't have Squeeze Lemonade. I totally need it now. Then I have my mica sprays. This is Wicked Elixir. I spritzed this one on there. It's going to dry back lighter, just as the Harvest Moon will dry back lighter, but it is going to give me that really awesome mica shimmery goodness. So I have that. I decided I needed a little bit more of the Wicked Elixir, so I I splattered that one on as well instead of spraying. And then when everything kind of dried back a little bit, I wanted even darker green. So I used my Rustic Wilderness Distress Oxide spray. So I've got a ton of different splatters there. I'm gonna let that dry and add the ice cubes. So I die cut these from Vellum. I want them to look as if they're floating at the top of the drink. So I, again, am using the glue and I am rubbing the glue or spreading it out with my finger so you can't really see it, and it works really good. So there's my ice cubes floating at the top. Now let's add our shaker bits. So these are really fun. They have lemon slices, lime slices, and different colors and sizes of sequins. And then of course these adorable ice cubes. I'm in love with them. I definitely will use these more. I think they're just cute. So cute. All right, now we're putting the two pieces together and creating our, this is kind of a limeade, I would say, limeade drink. And I love it. I love it. This mug is like a nice size. It's not too big, but it's kind of big where you can make it your whole card. So I think it's super fun. And I just had so much fun creating not only the background, but putting all those little bits in there for my shaker. All right, now there is a lemon or lime or orange slice in here, but it doesn't have a backer. So I just glued it down onto a scrap of this kind of yellowish green color, and that was the backing for my limes. And once I got to this point where I glued my whole shaker panel down to my card front, I didn't like the white of the card front. So I actually cut the back of it off, colored the edge of it with my RV17 marker, and then added it to a new card front. So I have a dark, kind of that fuchsia color as my card base, and I like it so much more. For the top of my drink, I felt like it needed a little bit of sugar at the top, so I used my diamond stickles, and then I can just glue or press my limes into that glitter glue. Time for the sentiment. I have the stamp scrubber here from Picket Fence. I love this thing. It is great for cleaning off your stamps, but it's also great for wiping it off a brand new stamp so that it accepts the ink better when you first use it. I love that little thing. I like to use my distress sprayer and spritz it. So when life gives you lemons, call me. We can spike the lemonade. That's what the sentiment says. I cleaned off my stamp just to show you it works so good. Then it's time to die cut this out with the coordinating die, and this one's going to go onto the card front, covering up the mug. And I am going to use two kinds of adhesive because it's going on a window sheet and that watercolor cardstock I used for my background. So I used double stick tape and liquid glue. I added some more lemons and limes to finish off the look, and I love this card. I think it's really fun with the bright, bright colors and the lemons and limes. I'm most likely to drink, I think, a lemonade or lime drink. I love that flavor. So let's move on to card number 3. This is a full panel shaker, infinity edge shaker, edge to edge shaker, whatever you want to call it. This is the tropical cocktail shaker die, and I'm going to use that mix that's like the kind of reddish orange mix with a little hint of bright pink in it. And then I am using some vellum, colored vellum from Trinity Stamps. This pink has like an iridescent shine to it, and I thought it'd be perfect for this cocktail glass. I used both of the dies so the center of the glass would be cut out. There's also a little toothpick with like a cherry, and I'm going to use it as an orange slice, and then straws. I'm actually only going to use one of the straws I die cut out. The other one, I'm going to flip it. I'll show you how I do that after we color. So I'm coloring out my cherry, my orange, which actually I didn't like the orange marker that I chose. It was a little too dark. So I'm going to color over that with a lighter, almost yellow, and it worked out really good. I brought in one of my gel press backgrounds that I previously made to be the background for this card. And then I'm cutting a piece of packaging that I had on hand. It was like a big, almost cellophane envelope. So I'm cutting the cellophane to be a little bit bigger, about 1 inch all the way around, bigger than my card. I'm going to miter the corners. I call it miter. I'm cutting them at an angle so it's easier to fold everything around my card front. I'm adding my double-sided adhesive only on 3 sides. I can put that face down onto my cellophane, and then I'll fold up the 3 sides where that adhesive is, leaving the top open for my shaker bits. So I can just pour my sequins right in there, and they're gorgeous. I got a little too many. I did pour a few out, and then I flattened it, and then I'm going to flip it over and close up that top flap with some more of the double-sided adhesive, just folding that down over the top of it like that. I love an infinity edge shaker. So we need our sentiment, and when we have everything ready, we'll start building this card. So I'm using Rouge ink from Altenew to stamp out "Thank you for bringing sweetness into my life." Of course, there is a coordinating die for that, so I die cut that out. Now for my straw, I die cut this straw from the back side of my pattern paper so I could have my straw facing the opposite direction, because I'm having my two glasses kind of do a little cheers there in the middle of my card. I did the same technique with the vellum, putting the glue on the back and spreading it out to glue these to the front of my infinity edge shaker. Then you may notice that my oranges now have an orange backing. I did the same thing as I did with the last card, gluing a lighter orange cardstock to the back. And then I added my straws and my sentiment. I used both double-sided adhesive and glue to glue this panel down to my card. The double-sided adhesive is also going to help keep those flaps shut. So my A2 size card is almost done, but I had to embellish. I wanted to make my little fruit picks be sugary, so I used my diamond stickles on them. And here's what it looks like when it's all dry several days later. I recorded this. You can see I've had my nails done now. And then you can see all three cards right here. And let's give a listen to these shakers. I love the sound of shakers, and I just think a shaker is so much fun for the recipient, especially with these dies. Like, they're made for this. And of course you can use these to make shakers in different ways than I've done today, but I just wanted to give you 3 different ideas. If you love shaker cards, you should come check out my Facebook group. It's called Shaker Card Addicts. We just share shaker cards that we make to inspire each other, like what kind of adhesives we like to use, and you know, different shaker bits. So it's a really fun little group. So come check us out, Shaker Card Addicts on Facebook. Yeah, that is it for my video today, but I will be back again very soon with more inspiration just for you. So feel free to subscribe, and I will see you very soon on the next one. Happy stamping. Bye.